For decades, dominance in the skies has dictated the outcomes of wars. From the decisive air campaigns of World War II to the stealth revolutions of the late 20th century, air superiority has consistently defined the balance of military power. Today, that balance may be on the verge of shifting again, and Russia claims to be at the center of this transformation. Behind a veil of secrecy, Russian engineers have allegedly been upgrading their Su-57 fighter jet into a platform capable of wielding sixth-generation technologies. These developments, if true, could alter the very nature of aerial warfare. Some believe this represents one of the greatest military breakthroughs in recent history, while others see it as a desperate attempt at deception. The question is simple but critical. Is Russia genuinely leading the charge into sixth-generation air combat, or are its boasts a sophisticated bluff? A quiet revolution in the skies. Western intelligence agencies were caught off guard when reports emerged that Russia's Su-57 prototypes were not just undergoing standard modernization, but were being used as experimental platforms for sixth-generation systems. Beginning around 2023, Russia allegedly shifted from incremental upgrades to ambitious experiments, testing advanced avionics, stealth materials, and artificial intelligence-based systems directly on existing aircraft. This approach, unlike the traditional Western strategy of developing entirely new platforms from scratch, allowed Russian engineers to accelerate their progress by validating future technologies in real-world conditions. More than 700 test flights have been logged since these experiments began, each one gathering data not on past performance, but on technologies envisioned for the future. Russian officials insist that these flights are not mere computer simulations or laboratory trials, but genuine operational tests that prove their systems can function under combat conditions. This pragmatic method has allowed Russia to present itself as years ahead of its rivals, suggesting that tomorrow's capabilities are already flying in its skies today. The technology Russia claims to possess. According to official statements and leaked intelligence, the technologies being integrated into the Su-57 platform are striking in both ambition and scope. One of the most controversial features is the aircraft's supposed ability to operate as both a manned and unmanned system. In theory, a single pilot could lead a squadron of drone-like wingmen, each capable of acting autonomously. This dual-mode function would give Russian forces the ability to overwhelm opponents with a mix of human-led and machine-driven fighters operating in unison. Artificial intelligence is another cornerstone of these claims. The updated Su-57 systems reportedly use AI to detect, track, and even engage targets independently. Unlike human pilots who must rely on reflexes and training, these AI-driven systems can make tactical decisions in milliseconds. They can also coordinate with other aircraft, deciding the best maneuvers, strikes, or evasions in real time. In combat scenarios, this could allow Russian forces to process and react to battlefield information far faster than any adversary relying solely on human control. Propulsion technologies are also at the heart of Russia's ambitious program. Engineers have stated that the next generation of engines will make hypersonic flight, a sustained speed exceeding 5 times the speed of sound, a reality. At such speeds, a fighter could theoretically strike anywhere on Earth within a couple of hours, bypassing most current defense systems before they could even detect the threat. Stealth remains another area of focus. Traditional stealth fighters are designed primarily to evade radar, but Russian scientists claim to be experimenting with materials and designs that reduce heat signatures, visual detection, and even multispectral surveillance. If these systems work as described, the new aircraft could remain hidden not only from radars, but also from infrared sensors and advanced satellite imagery. Perhaps the most pragmatic advancement, however, is in electronic warfare. Russia claims these modified Su-57s can act as airborne command hubs, capable of jamming enemy signals, disabling communications, and coordinating broader battlefield operations. These fighters, in essence, are described not merely as jets, but as flying computers, blending offensive and defensive capabilities into one integrated system. How this threatens the global balance of power. These claims carry enormous implications for the global balance of military power. Western programs such as the United States' Next Generation Air Dominance Project and Europe's Future Combat Air System remain largely confined to the design stage, with operational fighters not expected until well into the 2030s or even 2040s. The British and Japanese-led Global Combat Air Program has made more progress but still faces bureaucratic and funding hurdles. By contrast, Russia insists that it will have operational sixth-generation capabilities by 2030. Even a 5-year lead in fighter development could shift strategic balances in ways that NATO has not prepared for. Doctrines built on decades of American air superiority would suddenly face aircraft capable of fighting faster, smarter, and more autonomously than anything currently deployed. Entire systems of forward deployment, missile defense, and battlefield communication could be vulnerable to swarms of AI-driven Russian fighters. For the first time since the Cold War, Russia could theoretically rival or even surpass Western air power. Why the skepticism remains high? Despite the dramatic rhetoric, skepticism surrounding Russia's program remains widespread. The production history of the Su-57 tells an important story. Since its first flight in 2010, fewer than 40 units have been built. This figure is dwarfed by the hundreds of Chinese J-20 stealth fighters and the thousands of American F-35s already in service. Russia's slow production pace reflects the significant struggles within its aerospace industry, which has been further weakened by sanctions and the economic pressures of the war in Ukraine. Another troubling sign is the lack of combat use. While Russia has had every opportunity to showcase the Su-57's capabilities in Ukraine, the aircraft have rarely left Russian airspace. They have been relegated to defensive patrols, a puzzling choice if the fighter truly represents the cutting edge of military technology. This hesitation suggests lingering doubts about its battlefield readiness. Engine development has also proven to be a major stumbling block. Most Su-57s currently fly with engines borrowed from the older Su-35 platform rather than the new power plants that were promised. Without next-generation propulsion, claims of hypersonic performance remain aspirational rather than operational. Similarly, reports from Western intelligence indicate that the Su-57's radar signature is larger than Russian officials admit, raising questions about whether the aircraft can genuinely compete with stealth rivals from the United States or China. Even Russia's export market has shown skepticism. Traditional partners such as India and Algeria have expressed doubts about the Su-57's stealth and performance, and efforts to secure buyers have often involved secrecy and heavy discounts. The reluctance of long-term allies to fully embrace the fighter underscores the suspicion that much of Russia's messaging is exaggerated, smoke and mirrors, or strategic genius. The truth about Russia's sixth-generation program likely lies somewhere between breakthrough and bluff. On one hand, there's little doubt that Russian engineers have made genuine advances in fields such as electronic warfare, networking, and artificial intelligence integration. The hundreds of documented test flights suggest that these technologies are not confined to computer screens, but are being validated in real-world conditions. On the other hand, the gap between testing components on modified airframes and deploying a fleet of operational sixth-generation fighters remains immense. Russia faces three interconnected challenges: limited industrial capacity, shrinking financial resources, and waning credibility on the global stage. Its aerospace industry struggles to produce jets in meaningful numbers. Sanctions have disrupted critical supply chains, and potential export customers remain hesitant. Even if Russia succeeds in creating prototypes that push technological boundaries, scaling production and achieving combat readiness are hurdles that remain far from solved. Why bluffing still works? Even if Russia is overstating its capabilities, the strategy is far from pointless. Projecting an image of technological superiority serves a valuable role in psychological warfare. By convincing adversaries that it may already possess technologies that others are years away from achieving, Russia can deter aggression, sow doubt in NATO planning, and maintain geopolitical influence despite its economic struggles. This is hardly unprecedented. During the Cold War, both the United States and the Soviet Union routinely exaggerated their capabilities to intimidate each other. In this sense, Moscow's claims may be less about reality and more about strategic perception. And that wraps up our deep dive into Russia's mysterious 6th-generation fighter program. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay ahead on the latest in military tech, strategy, and global defense updates, make sure to hit that like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.